What's up, guys? Mr. Hanson 414, gonna work on some equations again. So remember that when we're solving equations, the goal of solving equations is to find out what x is. X is a variable, it can be any letter really. But we want to know what letter, or what number goes for the letter to make both sides equal to each other to make it true. So for the first equation, we get 3x equals 9. That's a one-step equation. You read it as 3 times x equals 9 because 3 times x is, what's happening is 3 x's. So to get x by itself or to isolate it, because we want x to equal just a number, we have to undo multiplication. So to undo multiplication, you divide because that's the inverse operation. So I draw my train tracks just to keep me organized. If I do it on one side, if I divide by 3 on the left, I gotta divide by 3 on the right. So I'm gonna take care of that. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so this is really 1x, or just x, there's only 1x there, and it equals 3. So the solution to this equation is x equals 3, and what that means is, if I put 3 in for x, the left side will equal the right side. So 3 times 3 equals 9. The next problem we're gonna look at is another one step. This is a pretty common one. We have 10 equals x divided by 5. What gets x by itself? You have to undo what's happening, and it's being divided by 5, so we have to multiply by 5. I put both sides in parentheses. This will come in handy later when we have bigger equations. So to undo division, I'm gonna multiply by 5. I'm gonna multiply by 5. On the left side, I get 50. And on the right side, 5 being multiplied and divided makes a 1. It simplifies to 1, so we get 1x, or just x equals 50. 50 divided by 5 is 10, 10 equals 10. All right, guys, so this is a two-step equation. You know it's a two-step because you look at your x, and it's on the left-hand side, and you say, what's happening to it? It's being multiplied by a -2, and it's being added by 5. That's a positive 5. If you don't see a sign, it's positive. So to get it by itself, I have to isolate it, and I'm going to do that by subtracting 5 on both sides. Because I'm doing the inverse operation, I'm using the subtraction property of equality. That makes a 0, it cancels to 0. This is a -2x, do not just put a 2x there, it's a -2x. It's not a -2x, it's a -2x. And that's an equal 12. Now, this looks like a one-step equation, which we did last time. We divide, now because this is a -2, you have to divide by -2, because a -x is not x being by itself, we want to get it by itself. A -2 divided by a -2 is a 1. So 1x equals -6. All right, guys, so two-step equation, 14 minus x divided by 2 equals 12. Always read the math operations. To get x all by itself, to isolate it, we have to undo this division, we have to undo this addition. To undo the addition, we're going to add 14, or subtract 14 on both sides, using the subtraction property of equality. This cancels to a 0. I could write 0, but I don't need to. -x divided by 2 equals 12 minus 14. The negative number is farther away from 0, so it's going to be a -2. Now, this is division. To undo division, put both sides in parentheses. Let's say I'm going to multiply this by 2 to get rid of that 2. It's going to cancel to, or simplify to a 1. But that negative doesn't go away. It comes down with the negative x, or with the x. -2 times 2 is -4. This is not your solution. We didn't want -x. We have to get rid of the negative. This is really -1 times x. So you can either multiply or divide by -1 to remove the negative. The negative divided by negative is always positive. X equals a +4. This number, if you put it in for x, will make the left side equal the right. It will keep it balanced. So this is an equation that looks a little bit different. We have a 10 on the, by itself on the left side, and that's cool. We can leave that alone. But then on the right-hand side, we have this 3 in these parentheses, and then an x and a -4, x minus 4 in the parentheses. So what we gotta do is figure out what can we do with these parentheses. A number outside of parentheses means you need to apply the distributive property, and the distributive property is kind of like the mailman. He's coming down the block, he's giving everybody something. So this 3 is coming in, and it's gonna multiply with the x, and this 3 is gonna multiply with that -4. So the left side's gonna stay the same. I'm gonna drop down this 10. Now, 3 times x is 3x. 1x times 3, you multiply the coefficients, and then 3 times -4 is -12. You should feel a lot better right now, because that looks like a two-step that you better know how to do. So we have to undo the subtraction. That's the subtraction. That's the -12. We're going to add 12 on both sides. It cancels to 0. We get 22 on the left-hand side equals 3x. 3 times x, you undo it by doing division, divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that's 1x. Who cares if it's on the right hand side, it doesn't matter. We get 22 divided by 3. 3 goes into 22, it's not even, it's not 21, but that's okay. So I can put 22 over 3, I can write it as a mixed number. I'm cool with it as a fraction, because fractions are numbers too. Don't discriminate. So what we're saying is we put 22 divided by 3 in here, it'll keep it balanced. The left side will equal the right. All right, guys, last one, and then we're gonna get out of here. So we gotta keep things balanced. Listen to Cole. So we got 2 equals 4, parentheses, x minus 1, so 4 times the quantity of x minus 1, plus 2x. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the left-hand side the same. We have to clear these parentheses. We apply the distributive property, multiply everything inside by 4. We're gonna get 2 equals 4x minus 4. That positive 2x comes on down. Now, this looks different. I haven't seen this yet. Think about it like sorting your clothes. You're gonna put all your jeans together, all your shirts together. They had combined like terms, or CLT. So I'm gonna underline the things that I'm gonna put together. If I had multiple things here, I would have put 2 underlines over those because they're different. I want to keep them separate. 4x, 2x. I got 4x's, I got 2x's. I put them all together, I got 6x's. Probably got a lot of drama. 6x. Let's bring down that negative 4. That 2 comes down. Now we got a simple 2-step. I know you can all 2-step. Didn't see it at the dance though. Y'all were standing on the walls. So we're gonna add 4 on both sides to clear the negative 4. Cancel to a 0. We get 6 equals 6x. And to finish this out, to get that x all by itself, you divide by 6 on both sides. And the division, property of equality, x equals 1. So what that means is the solution is 1. If you put a 1 in here, it'll balance out. Let's check it. 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. Does 2 equal 2? Yes. This is solving equations. If you need some stuff, comment, Twitter, and Mr. Answer 414. You know where to find me.